Hi and welcome to our second episode of Mama Knits. It's really lovely if you've come back to see me and say hi. That's really great. If you're new, that's lovely to see you. I'm Alice and this little podcast is coming from the south of England where I live with my husband and my two children and my two cats called Inky and Bertie. More important than the kids, clearly. This podcast is about knitting, crafting and those people and places who inspire me, and I'd like to introduce you to inspire you with your crafty journey with me, and I hope you join in and come along. What would be lovely is if you do like my podcast, please let me know by making a comment down below or just liking. Even more wonderful, as already many people have, do subscribe and then you get to see the next episode, which hopefully will be regular. Trying to do that, fitting in with my work commitments as well. But you can also follow me on Instagram, where I am also Mama Knits, and I try and put a picture up nearly every day, and it's a good place to chat and say hi. I'd also like to introduce you to my Ravelry group, which is also called Mama Knits podcast group. What would be lovely is if people could introduce themselves, and maybe I could add that in as a segment and say hi to you when you introduce yourself, and just to see where everybody is who's watching. I know there are lots of local people who are tuning in to me and saying hi, and that's really lovely, especially with the comments people are making. That would be great. So talking about being local and comments, I have guest blogged for my local yarn shop called Seeded, and they can be found on the internet as seeded.com, and the most wonderful comments have been made about my little crafty journey as to how I've got to where I am today, and the difficulties that some of us may have, and those things that have guided us and taken us towards being a craftier person, and how it soothes our minds and soothes our souls. And I think that's how many of us have got to where we are today, and how wonderful YouTube is, and the internet, allowing us to share those journeys and talk to each other and hold each other up, inspiring us to knit on and work our way through those difficulties. So I'm going to drink a bit today, a little bit full of cold. For various reasons, my job. This last couple of weeks has been amazing in the non-real world, the world of blogging and YouTubing, just communicating and chatting with people on the internet and making those connections and hearing where some people are from and how much they've enjoyed listening to my only one little podcast, my one share, and hopefully that's what I'm looking for, is more shares. Really watching other podcasts, and Barbara from Knitting I Love, hi, thank you so much for going into your jar. I was so excited. There were little tears in my eyes going, oh, only one podcast, Barbara, you're so wonderful. And I'll actually show some of you some of the things that I've purchased from Barbara that I use with my knitting every day. Such a lovely podcaster, and just so sweet, genuine and kind, and such lovely comments. And I didn't know I was that funny. Watch out. On another note, I have done stand-up comedy. Never again. But it was an experience, and I'm very much about having those experiences and trying things out and see what I'm good at. I talk a lot, and sometimes it's best to get it out of the way. So really, let's go on with episode 2, and let's have a look at what I have knitted, because I have been busy. So the last podcast, I believe, or my first podcast, first, I had been knitting on my Hermione's Everyday Socks, and I have a finished, I have a finished pair from the same skein, but for some reason this ball didn't allow me to do two identical, so it was easier to do two completely opposites. So I followed the pattern of the Hermione's everyday sock, but I've done a Fishlips Kiss heel from Socksetera, and it's worth buying just so that you get the understanding of how you set up a sock and how you get those measurements. It was really worth it for other people. On my own it's fine, but measuring out other people, it was a really good way of thinking about it. And I've just memorised this now, so it's become my go-to heel. So one finished pair of socks. And I finished another plain vanilla, very boring, but another, this is my own version of a simple sock. I think it's a cast on of 60 stitches. This one's a 2x2 rib at the top. I just knit until I get bored. Fishlips Kiss heel, and then I just knit along and I do my own toe. I don't even know what kind of toe it is. I have kind of quite pointy feet, so I start with very slow decreases every 3 rows, and then I do them every other row to get to that point. So mine end up on 10 stitches. I know some people work to 12. I like to 10 because I have it's very narrow at the top of my foot. So this was the Nora George yarn that I showed last time, which is the Molly Weasley colourway, and I work on a 2.5mm needle. I don't know what that is US. I'll learn in time. Get my brain working, I'll get going. But again, that's a pair, finished. So that is 2 pairs already in January. Oh, and the date is the 21st of January. So really I should have another pair if I'm doing this 1 pair a week. But to go in my box, my little dolls box. So hopefully by the end of the year there'll be at least 12 pairs of socks in there, is the plan. So that is all that I finished knitting, which doesn't feel too bad for 3 weeks into January. I've already managed to finish 2 pairs of socks, so I was quite pleased. But what am I knitting? So a few of these things you've already seen, but I'm working on still inside my Mrs. Brown's bag, and that's the Grocery Girls podcast. Do check them out. They are an absolute scream. Love it. Love watching them. That's my Sunday morning podcast watching. But here is my boxy jumper still going. Can you see all that in there? And this is where I was last podcast, and I've done a little bit more. So it's getting there. I am hopeful that this may be finished halfway through February if I keep working on it. Colours, grey. I'm starting to think I might need a bit more colour in this, because most of the things that I wear have lots of colour in. So I'm wondering whether I need a bit more colour to work on. But that's the Boxy by Joji Locatelli. That's my littlest saying hi. Waving. Ooh. And that's using the, the Drops Flora. And in fact, Drops Flora, talking about Barbara from Knitting I Love, she's also bought some of the Drops Flora before Christmas. I think it was her Christmas present. So I'm intrigued to see what she knits up on in hers. And what she thinks about it. So Barbara, I'm still watching, checking out what you're up to. So what else am I knitting on? Well, I'm still knitting on Mina Phillips Schlankit. I'll give you a little peep. More and more people are putting up spoilers of this. So spoiler, if you're knitting on the Schlankit, look away now. I haven't finished clue number 3, so it's going to look like you've clue already. I've got a bit of knitting to do tomorrow and today. But here is, again, my Schlankit. But colour. If I got it off backwards, sorry, that's the front. You see the way those colours are all merging in, but it's lots of colour. So that's why I'm thinking the grey for my boxy. I think I might need to put some colour in there. But it may work when I'm finished. So this is growing bigger and bigger. My needles aren't quite... Oh. You see that? So I think that's going to be quite a big shawl when it's finished. And I haven't finished clue 3. I know. I think I've got another bit of eyelets to do working on that. I was feeling poorly. I kind of lost it with what I'm doing. And I'm doing that in DK weight yarn, so it's going to be slightly smaller than the worsted Aran weight yarns that other people are using. So I'm hoping it's not going to be too small. But I like the way the colours are going together, so I'm quite happy with it. But those are things that you worry about, aren't they? That you think, oh, it's not going to be the same size. But, sorry, excuse me. And the last thing, I haven't mentioned a pair of socks, so there must be a pair of socks. So in here, and here is, gosh, I'm talking, so here is my pair of socks that I'm working on, and this is using, it's actually a DPN pouch, but I use it for my circulars. A little pouch to keep my needles and keep my yarn hopefully less tangled. And this is made by Knitting I Love. I do have another pouch which is more designed for circulars, but I quite like this one for DPNs on my circulars. But lots of orange, my colour, lots of orange. You can see lots of orange. Oh, I haven't even talked. Oh, I'll talk about that now. So these are using the Regia Perfect, and I have, very pleasingly, managed to split my ball into two. Pom-pom head. Two perfect balls. So I have got my socks are actually working up. More children. 2 now. I'm glad I've only got 2. Working up perfectly. So my colours are changing. And I have to say, I actually knit these. I did a 3-hour journey for work and got most of this done on this car journey. Someone else was driving, not me. And managed to knit those pretty quickly, so hopefully I'll get those done. But I do need to have another pair of socks on the needle. I think I'm going to, when I show you my inspiration, I've got some ideas with my inspiration yarns that I have been purchasing. Oh, and that's in one of my favourite bags, my little unicorn bag, which is rather cute. I can't remember where I got it from, a long time ago now. I need some more unicorn fabric, I think. My children are desperately trying to bring the cat in. I think we're going to leave him out there because I don't think he wants to be on the video. Maybe another time he'll come in, but not right now. Bless them. They are going to leave in about 30 seconds because they know that I don't want them in here anymore. Nicest way, honestly. Nicest possible way. I'm trying to pack this back in. Podcasting children and cats. We may edit that out. Right, sorry. Excuse the snuffles and the slurps. So those are all the things that I'm knitting at the moment. And then I said last podcast that I needed to have a to be knit section. So this is the to be knit section coming up. Last year, I'm always talking about it, Seeded, our local shop, they have been doing a biannual, that's right, twice a year, de-stash event. Now, the first time they did it, I was all up for de-stashing, and I did sell quite a bit of yarn. I sold some yarn for Mummy as well. But the second time we did it, I didn't want to give up any yarn. So instead, I helped out, which was really, really lovely. It was really nice meeting all the people, all our local local knitters and crafters, and got to chat to them, and got to sit down and have a little knit and a natter with them. And then I helped out with organising people, and then organising the store's de-stash. And the lovely Alexis then said, "But I'm de-stashing. You can have a look and de-stash. You can help me de-stash by maybe taking some at a reduced rate." And in fact, she gave me some Drops Eskimo in this beautifully purpley blue, and I have got enough to make an Owligan cardigan by Kate Davies. Now, this is a cardigan my children, my mummy has made my children all Owligan jumpers, or owl jumpers. You can hear, that's my other cat. She wants to come and say hi, I think. An owl jumper, and it has little owls all around the collar. And then little buttons for the eyes. They are just the most delightful thing ever. And we've got these jumpers from teeny size all the way up. But I want to make a cardigan. So I've got the Owligan cardigan pattern, and that is definitely, when this boxy is finished, the Owligan is happening. So thank you, Alexis. And you know, I would help out at de-stash anytime. It's a great event. So just look out for it. Look out for seeded.com and see what's going on down here on the south coast of England. It's worth a day trip, because where the de-stash is held, it's a beautiful building. Where I live, there's lots of history down here, and it's, even if you only came to the de-stash for half an hour and actually spent some time down in this beautiful city, it's worth it. So do come down. So there I am, trying to enable and inspire. So, inspiration. Inspiration. You can come here, Kitty. Inky. She's got herself on the windowsill. She doesn't know what to do. Come on then. Come on then. Here she comes. Come here. Can you come say hi? Come and say hi. Come and say hi like Bobbin does. She loves Bobbin from Little Bobbin's podcast. So Danny, Inky's in love with your dog, and she's a cat. I'll see if I can get her to come say hi. Is that to miss? She's very shy. She's very shy. She's a mummy's girl. She might come. She might come. I don't know. She's thinking about it. So, oh yeah, so if another podcast to look out for, Little Bobbins with Danny. She has recorded this week with her new little kitten. Sorry, I'm jumping around. Sorry. But her new little kitten, Teddy Pom Pom. Really, really cute little cat. Inky didn't find the cat interesting, but she loves Bobbin. She can't wait till Bobbin comes out, and she's up at the TV to say hi. So, over to inspiration, other than Danny from Little Bobbins, who is inspiring. And we'll talk about other podcasts in inspiration, let's do that. And all the ladies who have been to Vogue Knitting Live in New York, I've watched a few of the vlogs, and oh, wish I'd been there. Clearly couldn't be there. I have a job here, and they wouldn't let me have time off to go to a knitting show. That just wouldn't happen. But it was really lovely to see. What was so lovely was how all the girls had got together, girls, and were chatting and knitting, and each of their vlogs were really similar. And I like that. I like that because they'd all been together and they'd all shared their time, and just seeing what they were knitting, and how this community, even if you're on the other side of the world, you're still really friendly, and you know each other, and you feel you know each other. And I hope that with this podcast you'll start to feel that you know me, and certainly people who are local who've said, oh, I'm local, and you know, I loved your podcast. Do say hi if you see them in the street. People do it as part of my job anyway. They say hi, so it's perfectly fine. So, inspiration beyond podcasters, and I will try and put. Some people have asked about what podcasts I watch, and what I'll do is, if you join my Ravelry group, Mama Knits podcast group, I will put in there. I will try and put in a list of podcasters I watch regularly. I can't say it's going to be up to date all the time, but that will get you started. And what I found with watching podcasts is YouTube sort of assumes what I'm interested in, and it gives me recommendations. And I know that's how Mummy watches them as well. They recommend what she should watch afterwards, and generally, yeah, they're right. They're pretty good. They're pretty close. So you'll get to see more. And what would be lovely is if I put that up on in the group, then other people can add to it of podcasts they've watched that they think I should watch. That would be brilliant. That would be really, really great. I'd love that, to create that little community there, because I'm not going to podcast every week. I know I can't. I haven't got the time to do it. So that would be really lovely. That'd be really great. So, on to inspiration. I have been following on Etsy, and I'm always looking at a shop called Elm Tree Yarns, and she is at Knitting Bunting, on Instagram. And so I'd started following her on Instagram and then realised she dyed yarn. Very nice yarn. So here is some yarn that I've got from Elm Tree Yarns. This is superwash merino, nylon and stellino. I don't know whether you can see the sparkle in there. Maybe. And this colourway is the Niffler colourway. I feel a little bit like a Niffler at the moment with my niffly nose. But this is the Niffler colourway following Fantastic Beasts, and means I can use it for the Harry Potter cowl, which my socks were for earlier, as well as my boxer socks. So Niffler, and you'll love this. So it's getting a bit colder here. The cars are still, I can see the cars outside the window and they're still frozen, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. And my youngest, actually I just noticed it's gold stellino. I thought it was silver stellino, it's gold stellino in here. My youngest, when it was getting a bit cold, she's like, Mummy, I'd really like some fingerless gloves. I was like, oh, okay, fingerless gloves, I can do that. Mummy, you haven't started knitting with your Niffler yarn. I would really like some fingerless gloves made out of the Niffler yarn, please, Mummy. My children are in my stash. But I thought that was rather gorgeous. So, if anyone knows of a good, she's 9, so not big hands, but of a mitten, one of those fingerless mitts that has the little flap over it. She wants some of those gloves. If you know of a good pattern for that, let me know, either on Instagram or on this channel or in the Ravelry group. Join, say hi, give an introduction, tell me who you are, and let me, let's create a lovely community here to make some Niffler gloves, and hopefully there'll be enough left for me to still do a pair of socks that will mean I can put it into the boxer socks and to the Harry Potter cowl. So I'm looking for some fingerless mitts that will only take about 30 grams of yarn. She's only got little hands, but Niffler. But I couldn't just buy one. Sorry, I'm jumping around. I couldn't just buy one skein yarn. I bought 2. And this one is, again, the same superwash merino nylon stellina. 100 grams, 4-ply, I didn't say that before, 400 metres. And this is Frank the big eagle at the end who comes crashing down. Sorry, spoil the film. Watch the film. It is Frank. It really is Frank. I love it. I love it. But this, I'm not sure I want socks. I'm thinking I want this in a shawl with, I've then got some single colours, yellows and greys. I'm thinking it might be the Grocery Girl shawl. So I'll talk about that inspiration. I'm really jumping around. I really apologise. I'm sorry. But that just reminded me of Grocery Girl's shawl. Again by Johi Locatelli, so it's still inspiring. A colleague at work was saying that she was finding it really hard to knit a shawl that she'd found, and she was just, I keep starting and pulling it out. And she's seen the shawls that I make and really wants to have a go. So I said, oh, I'll have a look for something for you. So I purchased the Grocery Girl's shawl for her and sent that to her, and hopefully maybe we can knit together that shawl together. So and maybe if I'm knitting it and show her where I'm going, it will inspire her to carry on. But it was really lovely that even people at work want to know about my knitting, and they have no idea I do this podcast. So it's lovely the way it all comes together. The more knitwear you wear, the more people want to have a go. And knitting is for everybody. We should all do it. It's great for us. Yeah. Check out Cedia's Wellness in Wool, all her podcasts. She gets us to think about it. So, my 2 yarns from Elm Tree Yarns. Gorgeous, beautiful. I can't wait to knit with them. Fantastic. And then I was a little bit naughty because I then was feeling really impatient with yarn not arriving quick enough, which is crazy. And I went on to Barrow and Saw, who are also an Etsy shop, and I will put the links on the screen. And I got 2 of their skeins. So in fact, I'll put this up. Look, here's the Barrow and Saw. Look at the cute little bunny. And they're all her details and information. And I've got to remember what the colourways are here. I've got the piece of paper in here. So these are both merino nylon mixes. And this one, I love this name, it's called Invincible Summer. And now it's really cold. I was just completely drawn to these lovely, lovely, bright colours. I thought, what amazing socks they will make. Amazing socks. And you can see this, the red that runs into, in fact, it's a little bit, it's much closer in colour here, but it's really nice to find red into an orange. And we've got this. This just makes me think of Indian colours, saris. Does it? I'm sure Mummy will think that it looks like sort of saris. I've got some sari silks that are sort of similar in colour with these oranges and the pinks. It's just phenomenal colours. Love them, love them, love them. Cannot wait to turn those into socks. And then the other one, a little bit more muted, but called Shooting Star. And actually, when you look at it, doesn't it look like those kind of Northern Lights colours? Isn't it? Shawl, I'm thinking though, not socks. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting how you can look at a yarn and you decide from those colours whether you want it to be on your feet or around your neck? But I think that's, I think a shawl. But lovely, lovely greens and blues and yellows all mixed together. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And it's all inside, which I have to say, I've had this. This is my knitting pouch, a tote bag, I think is what it's called. And this is by Thimble and Thread. And it's the first one she made. I just went, it's red and spots, I've got to have it. It is awesome, awesome. So that's by Thimble and Thread. Awesome pouch. What I really like is it's got little press studs at the top. Yeah, no zip, no pulley bit. And then, so I love the press studs. And then inside there's a little, to put your, I don't know, notions pouch could be attached to it. You could run your yarn through it as you're knitting. And then right inside, whoop, there's a matching little pocket so you can put your pattern in there. But really, really gorgeous. I have other Thimble and Thread knitting bags, and I'm always on the lookout for new ones. And in fact, what I'm looking for at the moment, because I'm doing the 2 at a time socks, I really want to find a 2 at a time knitting pouch so that I can have the 2 balls separately and then the threads coming out separately. So if anyone knows of any bags that have a little, how do I describe it? A divider, that's the word. A divider in between, so I can have 2 balls of 2 skeins of yarn in there. Really looking for one of those. I think I spied one and on Etsy and favorited it, and then it was sold. So I was like, oh, wasn't quick enough. So I'm even willing to make them myself. I can sew. I haven't shown you any of my sewing yet, but that may come. I may show you some sewing. So I could show some of that. So, ooh, that was seems very quick podcast. Maybe I'll show you. So, things, future ideas. Oh no, I haven't. No, I haven't finished because I was talking about inspiration and what I was thinking of, and I haven't gone down that route yet. But the Find Your Fade shawl. How many of you have fallen down the rabbit hole? Because that's the phrase at the moment. And should I? Do I have time? I'm looking at all the projects down there. Do I have time to start a Find Your Fade shawl? I'm so tempted. In fact, I'm more tempted with the Find Your Fade shawl than the Cozy Memories crochet blanket. That equally I see, and I have so much yarn for the Cozy Memories crochet blanket. This is not my crafting room. If you saw my crafting space downstairs, so much yarn. Maybe we'll have a tour of all the yarn. So I don't know if I'm going to go down that route, whether I should head down there. That might be thoughts to come. Though I am thinking about, so what I'm wearing here, this is my exploration station. Can I sit back a bit so you can see bright blues and oranges? This is one of my favourite shawls that I've made, and I made this with my group from Seeded, and it was actually the first real life knit along, real world knit along that I had I did, and it was my idea to do the shawl, and it was lovely watching people. It was great watching people telling me, I hate this brioche section, but I think everybody, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everybody in the group has finished their exploration station. Alexis, have you finished yours? Just a question, have you? And it has inspired some people to go on and work with other Stephen West designs. And one of my group has been test knitting for him. Test knitting for Stephen West. How cool is that? I'm willing, I'm here. But what I think I might do, not yet, but I'm thinking in the future, maybe a knit along for us here, is to have a virtual and is that right? Yeah, a virtual knit along and a reality knit along at the same time with my Seeded friends and with my podcasting friends. And I was thinking about the fact that I have all this sock yarn that may be a dotted rays, and I could use up those bits of sock yarn that I've got that could have gone into my crochet blanket. So just thinking of other ways that we can use up those little bits of scrappy yarn that we've got that we don't know what to do with. And that dotted rays, I thought that would be great for using up those bits of yarn. That would be amazing. So if you want to join us, I'm not sure quite when I'll start that knit along, but start thinking about it. It will probably be, I'm thinking it'd probably be maybe March, the beginning of March. But I will get that all out properly and start a knit along and find some prizes. I may hang out in Seeded a bit and I will buy some bits and pieces that I could have as prizes, and people can join in, and that would be really lovely to see people knitting together, because I think that's a really lovely way to get, when you've all got something you've knit together, and as I see the people's exploration stations finish, it makes you feel great, doesn't it? That you think, oh, I've done that, I was working with you on that, and we did that as a group, and that was really nice. It's a bonding experience. This is a very short podcast. I do apologise. I have been feeling interesting this week, so I am going to bring it to an end. Thank you so much for watching Mama Knits podcast. next time I'm sure will be longer. I'm sure I'll have done more knitting next time. It was really wonderful to have you join me here in my little nook in the south of England. And do keep messaging me, say hi, read my blog post on Seeded. It will give you more of an idea of where I've come from. And Alexis, you made me cry with your intro. It was absolutely beautiful. And you are truly my inspiration and my enabler, which is wonderful, because I don't think I would still be knitting, and I don't think I would be here in this place if it wasn't for my Seeded family. My real family, Mummy, hi. Knitting has been a big part of my life in the last probably 5 years, and with certain things that have gone on. And it's been really important that I keep going. So thank you for letting me share. Thank you for letting me Twitter on. I won't Twitter as much next week, I promise you. So I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and I hope you've been inspired. I hope you want to go and have a look at some of that yarn in those different yarn places on Etsy. But please, knit on. Bye.